We got another guest on this couch. Go on, no, you're still there.
What's up, man?
Hey, good to see you, Professor. This is
Good to see you too,
this
man.
is the black belt jiu-jitsu instructor from Ohana Academy. So now that we got all your coaches and corners here on the couch, brother, what originally attracted me to Ohana was I was actually looking for a place that did early bird jiu-jitsu. There was no other place in town that did that. I wanted to get jiu-jitsu in before going to work. And I found this place online called American Kickboxing Academy San Antonio. Now everybody's heard of American Kickboxing Academy. They got a big Bobby Southworth picture on the website. I was like, oh, that's dope. That's the place to be, right? But little did I know that was kind of a branding that sort of y'all kind of separated from eventually.
Right.
But that was the basis for y'all's MMA program starting out, though, right? Or
I mean, so that's a long story.
Well, okay.
Let me try to bring it to you real close. So we started off, right, and I ran the MMA program in the beginning. Then we handed it off to a guy named Jay Pache. After Jay Pache, another guy took it. Bobby had a school in San Antonio, was struggling a little bit. The landlord was kind of pushing him a little bit difficult, and he called me and said, hey, I need to get somewhere. I don't have anywhere to go. I said, well, we don't have everything worked out right now, but whatever. I mean, come on over, just help us with the MMA program. And so that's kind of how that integrated. And then when Bobby had a better opportunity with the UFC gym, which came to San Antonio, Bobby was like, man, I gotta go, and it was totally okay. It wasn't a big deal.
I see. So it wasn't like a falling out or anything. And I didn't get that. I didn't figure that it was. I knew that he got that opportunity.
Yeah, Bobby actually, wished me well too. Whenever this opportunity came, gave me a shout out and reached out to me. And he's a great guy. I always enjoy seeing him.
That's Bobby Southworth.
He's a great
from
Ultimate
Fighter Season 1.
Fantastic ball buster is what he is.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a badass fighter too. Badass black belt. He was a Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. I actually got a chance to spar with him one time in MMA class. He took it easy on me. Believe me, he could have killed me.
Yeah, giant.
He's massive. Oh my god.
He's got the hardest hook I've ever felt on the pads.
Yeah, but no, he's good people, and so like I said, man. Back in June of 2015, that's when I kind of first got acquainted with you. Kind of met you through the early bird jiu-jitsu, and then more
you were angry, big, angry, and strong, and we thought you were crazy when you first got there.
I still
you didn't
am.
smile.
I still am.
We all thought, who is the crazy white guy?
I know, man.
Yeah, he did. It took a while. I was the only one that would roll with you for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I just stopped going to class altogether.
Yeah, you did. It sucked. You did. Because then for a while it was like a bunch of small white belts.
Well, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny.
And then Jose, who would just fuck me up, man. Yeah. I call him Yoda, dude. That's my Yoda, bro. Jose is my man.
It's funny how it works though with that 10-week camp, how you kind of recompose and how mixed martial arts sort of revamps the mind and how you.
Dude, and you kicked some ass in that fight too.
Yeah, and you kicked some ass that fight. Dude.
I did. First round rear naked choke. Same thing. Same result with the second fight, which you were on that card, RFA 41.
You were 3-0 when you left us.
2-0. I'm 2-1 now.
2-1.
Yeah, I got my ass beat in my last fight, but I didn't have Chuck. I didn't have Chuck, man. Chuck, if you're watching this,
Chuck,
you boo.
Chuck's the man too, man. Chuck's the man too.
He's a big part of my success too, man. He was always in my corner, and that mattered, But no, what I was saying is like it really truly it brought me to a whole nother level as not only a martial artist, but as a broadcast journalist, and getting to learn the sport and get to feel what it's like to be in there, and just a taste of it. Nothing like I would see the rounds that they would have you doing in there, man, with this guy and this guy yelling at you, and they're putting body after body, and man. And I'd be like somewhere on the floor light sparring with somebody else, and when I hear this guy say, Rodney! I'm like, oh, no.
You look in the cage to see who you're going with. It's never anybody easy.
Oh, it's never anybody easy in that room. And you're right. That's what's gotten y'all here, man. And that's what I just love about it, man. I'm so proud of y'all. I'm so proud of seeing that program just come from the ground up and knowing the potential that it has, knowing that y'all believe in it. You believe in your guys all believe in the coaches and the vision that everybody has, and it's just dope. And at that time, there really wasn't much of there really wasn't an amateur team. It was mostly pros. So I mean, that's really, you had no choice but to get beat up by guys like him and Ray Rodriguez and Pony. And now you got a nice little amateur team set up too.
Ever since the LFA fights and stuff, the exposure's been real high on the gym. And there's a lot of guys that show up to fight and they can't handle the sparring sessions. But then the ones that keep coming back, and then we have to reward those guys somehow, so we get them amateur fights and let them, because they're only going to stay around so long when they're fighting Alex and Ray and Washington and Pony, over and over and over again. They take their beatings, they have to have something, you know, as a reward. And if they hang around long enough, the chances of them being a fighter are pretty good. They're tough enough to do it. That's, you know, they teach them everything
and they're
else.
ferment in this inner circle. And once you do that, and you become a part of the culture, part of, I mean, what we build.
It's a good group of guys.
It's a tremendous group of guys, and it's deeper than just, you know, getting in there and getting rounds. You know, it becomes truly that family feel. And that's what we have. We have that MMA clique of guys who all, you know, really ride and die for each other. And so it's a good thing out there. And the guys that can stick around, do the shit they don't feel like doing, take the hits they don't feel like taking, you know, just buy into every piece of the product that we're pushing here. Those guys are the ones that last. Those guys are the ones that succeed.
And those guys are the ones that fight.
Those guys are the ones that fight and fucking win. So that's the idea.
Anything to add, Professor Jason?
Well, man, there's like 3 or 4 things that I've been like dying to
Spill
say.
it, baby. Well, that's why we called you.
First off, like you calling this guy John O'Rourke, and then you're talking about this guy's weight cuts. This is Alexander the Great, right? This is John O'Rourke. This is Handjob. This is Handjob.
I didn't want to put that out to the world.
This is the head striking coach, Ohana Academy, and he got that out of blood, sweat, and merit. And some shaky.
No. Look, like you said, right? When you got a guy that's homegrown, he came to us and he started with us, okay? There's all these, like, origin stories, right? Like,
origin stories?
Handjobs. Oh, my God. Crazy.
That's Las Vegas couch.
But the process of him going from being a wrestler to being a jiu-jitsu guy to being, like, a boxer to being a Muay Thai guy and all that things, there's some really good stories. And one of them is at one of his first pro fight in Seguin, Texas. 2 really good stories. Is probably his worst weight cut he's ever had before in his life, which we won't talk about that today.
Still
but
it's 145 of them.
We want to make a movie about it. We want to call it The Cut, and maybe we'll talk about that some other time. But then also too, he's trying to wrap his hands, and it was Gabe's hands, and he couldn't wrap his hands because the doc wouldn't let him pass because they didn't do pre-fight physical, and his heart rate was like 190 over 110. It was horrible. I mean, truthfully, he probably shouldn't have fought at all. But eventually, the doc, after taking it, not going down, he kind of does one of these where he just kind of like isn't even counting, isn't even looking, and he goes, "Oh, you're good." And so then Johnny has like literally less than like a minute and a half to finish wrapping his hands and for Gabe to get a little bit of warm up. And so as soon as Johnny like ties off that last thing, and by the way, we're all kind of hanging out and no one's really talking. We're usually like, I mean, you can tell we're a pretty fun-loving bunch. No one's talking, no one's laughing, no one's doing anything, and all of a sudden Johnny just looks up, we lock eyes, and he goes, "Woof! That was the fastest hand job I've ever done." My butt was puckered the entire time. And so from that moment on, this guy's in hand job. So I've been trying to introduce him to the UFC guys. Everyone, he's like, "Hi, my name is John." He's like, no, this is Handjob. And everyone looks at me like I'm a little weird, but you know, it's the truth. It's Handjob.
They had shirts made.
We've had shirts made.
They had shirts made.
You had your Bob You can never fucking live that name.
But that's the joke. But what I want to say is, man, it's so cool, like to have a dream, to have something like that, and having someone come in and believe in the things that you're sending them, and then to see the fruit that comes, and then not only that, you get to see the side effects that happen to not just to him, but to all the other people. I mean, look at what happened with your career and look where you're at now. I mean, a lot of those things don't happen unless there's good fruit and a good environment and the things that are happening. And now, 10 years later, I mean, we're where we want to be, but we're not done yet, right? The most important thing is going to start on a Saturday, and that's showing everyone that we belong here. And then after that, man, next goal is to keep on going, and he's going to take over the 155-pound division. And after that, man, our goal is to get 2 or 3 other people here in the UFC and let people know it's not a one and done. You know, it's not just an accident. It's not a stroke of luck. Man, this is what you said. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of years, and a lot of people only see the tip of the iceberg, but they never see what's underneath of it. And Alex is by definition, man, you got to look down deep and see what this guy does every single day. And I mean, a lot of people toss the 2 jobs around, but he was succeeding at both. I mean, he was highly successful at what a lot of people, I mean, the income bracket that he was able to achieve on his corporate level, right, in corporate America, is what most people never ever reach. And then on the other side of it, he was also having a success at MMA, and so as a 25-year-old, he was able to look at this and be like, man, I can put this on hold, and I can come back here because I've already shown that I can do it, but I'll have too much regret if I never give this a shot. 8 weeks later, he's being called up to the UFC, and that only happens if that iceberg goes really, really deep, which it does.
Yeah, so let me ask you that. Was there ever a time that you questioned it, like you decided that, you know, like you had second thoughts, like you might just go for the full-time career hang up to MMA?
Man, I've spent...
Because it's a roller coaster.
The last 4 years have been a roller coaster, going back and forth, just through injuries and just different life stipulations, obstacles that you have facing you. And I mean, for the longest time, years ago, it was a struggle between, man, which direction am I going, what am I doing? And I just kept putting everything I had into both, but it was a constant internal struggle. And I did have a point to where I was like, man, I'm going to focus on, the finance, the business side of things. That's where I'm going to delegate my energy. And then that RFA fight in San Antonio is what swung the pendulum back. John called me and he said, RFA, explain the promotion to me. It's coming here to San Antonio. It's going to be on national television. They want you to be on it. It's in your backyard. You got to fucking do it. And he just said it with such conviction. I was like, well, yeah, I guess so. And then I hung up the phone and I was like, what the fuck did I just do, man? Because I was still training. Because regardless, I wanted my black belt jiu-jitsu, and I hate the feeling of regression. So I couldn't go in the gym and get punched by these cats that I'm licking up every day. I just couldn't take that. So I was still doing my work. It just wasn't, it wasn't all the qualities of a fighter in the sense of my nutrition's on point. Outside the gym, I'm not upholding a professional athlete's lifestyle. And so, but I was still hitting my hours, 3+ in the gym. And so whenever he said that, it kind of resonated. And I was like, well, shit, what did I just sign up for? And it wasn't until about like 3 weeks before the fight that I stopped bitching and buckled down. And that kind of swung everything in my mind, because it wasn't just a lack of caring about fighting. It was a personal mental hurdle I had to overcome. And I did that fight and proved a lot to myself. And so after that, everything just kind of changed. The following fight, the composure and just enjoyment I had the entire way was unprecedented. I've never felt that for myself since that first RFA and the following. And even now, we're at a new brink where it's like, man, none of these obstacles are affecting me at all. The UFC, the fight, none of it's causing the angst I used to feel in my early professional career. I just kind of grew, like Jay was saying, in both those realms I was playing. They transcend each other and correlate with each other beautifully, so that way I'm mature just in myself, and I'm more confident in myself and my know-how and what I'm capable of than ever before. And like you said, you have your whole life to sit behind a desk. I've got a small window of opportunity to seize this, and I'll be damned if I don't. So here we are. Yeah, we're gonna catch this shit, and Saturday's gonna be the first major violent impact of it.
Yeah, and I could see the conviction from Jason Yerrington. We just captured some of that on the video just as he's speaking here, and obviously I know it's y'all are passionate about it, and there's an emotional moment, really. I mean, it's also a roller coaster in itself. There's the happiness, there's everything that goes with it, but man, it's crazy, right? It's crazy to see that. Damn, man. Fucking
it's cool. You're here too, and we're all kind of going.
I know.
Man, it's cool because you're
Yeah.
from Ohana and you're out here, and then we had another guy who's at the UFC now. He's out here, and it's like all these homeboys, all these homegrown boys that are out here now that are.
It's like we're growing out with people.
Yeah, we're all kind of growing out with people that we started out with, and so it's a pretty cool thing being all together here in Vegas. But
yeah, Vegas is the shit, man. Fabulous Las Vegas, man. I love it here.
They do it right here.
Yeah,
they do it right here. Right, wrong. They do it.
Yeah, what can't you do, man? Shit. So how long you all plan to stay in town? You heading out on Sunday after?
So that's the crazy thing, right? So I'm sure they're gonna stay a little bit longer, but Johnny and we got to fly out immediately, because after Alex fights, we've got 3 other guys fighting the Cowboys on the card that he was supposed to be on. So, it's important that even though someone goes forward, man, we don't ever forget where we came from. So going back to support those guys, because they're going to do great. We got Colton Herrera, we got Washington going to fight for the title, and then we got a guy named Josh Rosen. I mean, we got 2 amateur guys with a lot of talent coming up, and then we got a huge pro.
Huge one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if Colton was going pro, but
Not yet.
How many amateur fights is that?
He just has one.
This will be
two.
This will be a second one.
Yeah, and we talked about the the mechanical bull and the dance floor and fight. The cage is literally sitting on top of like dust where they do like dirt where they have a rodeo. But hey,
is that where you had both your fights?
Yeah, in San Antonio, both of them. And you know what? I love that fucking venue. The only thing that sucks is that you're crammed back there like with your opponent. It's kind of awkward, but
there's been some worse ones though.
Yeah. I'm sure, because like the one I did here, it sucked, man. Like the room that I had to warm up in with the entire red corner was smaller than this room we're in right now. I mean, and there was like 15 fights on the card, so you could just imagine how many coaches and people. It sucked. Oh shit!
They got everybody in a room in a shrine temple that was all clowns.
Yeah.
It was all creepy clowns.
Like literally, there were clowns
They were like,
all over the wall.
clowns.
You walk in and there were clowns
Like,
all over the
went in
fuckers. The creepiest, most sadistic shit I've ever walked
If
into.
you weren't looking at someone's
That's
face,
the
you were
worst.
looking at a
The
clown.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you
I
just see some crazy shit coming up.
We've got good stories.
I don't think
There's
there's
some
anything that could be
crazy
worse than that one.
stories, Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
then you got to go fight somebody.
Yeah, but as far as Cowboys is a great venue to actually fight at, and when RFA, LFA comes through and they put it on TV, you can't tell how small that place really is. I mean, it looks legit on TV, man. They do a great job with commentary with Pat Miletich and them and.
Pat Miletich and Alex are buddies now.
Yeah, they like each other.
I remember on RFA 41. I was on the amateur undercard, and you
Alex likes his shoes.
you freaking had what the main event? Or it was the co-main because Josh Clark, who's from here in Extreme, was in the main against Trayvon Giles, and then in the co-main. Fucking, I remember watching the recap and that New Zealand commentator. He's not with him anymore. Chavallo.
Yeah.
Chavallo. He's like, yeah, Hernandez wasn't supposed to win, but somebody didn't give him the script. And you Chris Benoit German suplex the guy.
Almost twice, yeah.
Almost twice. You did slam him twice, though, didn't you?
Yeah,
Like, you
well, it was
tossed
a
him.
big suplex, and we went to toss again. He just dropped.
Yeah, and then you choked him out. It was
belly
just
out,
like, fucking hey.
Cool.
Jaden Rodriguez got a rear naked choke. I got a rear naked choke. I think Pony got an arm triangle that night.
He's an ass.
Or was that the one that he didn't really? He get the arm triangle, or did he do the weird submission?
It was the arm triangle.
It was
No,
arm
that was
triangle.
LFA. Yeah, that little grapevine.
Yeah.
Did you see Dan Henderson commented on that shit online?
Really?
Yeah, he shared a post of that.
That's
And he was
awesome.
like, yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, fuck, I know that dude. That's funny.
So Pony just.
I didn't even know. I was cage side. I was covering that event. I didn't even know what the hell
It
happened.
was a weird thing. His knee just clicked right out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we
Pony's
were all,
strong as
yeah,
shit.
we were all just
That
looking at
guy's
each other,
good
being
fighter.
like, "What did he do? What happened?"
Pony didn't even know
Yeah.
what the fuck.
Yeah,
he
bro,
wasn't
I don't
expecting
know,
it.
bro.
Yeah, he was like, "I'll take it though, man." It's funny. Yeah.
He's fighting March 24th up in Azerbaijan. How do you say it? Russia?
It's in Russia.
No, that's how you say it.
He's gonna be out in the Soviet gang.
It wasn't all right for me to screw it up. You had to do it too.
So we're talking about Gleitz and Pony. He's signed with ACB now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's dope. And he's had one fight so far.
Should have won that one. They didn't give it to him.
Okay. And then what was okay? And then he's got the second one coming up for that contract. Nice.
Yeah.
And they're all in Russia? No, the other one's in Canada, huh?
The first
in
one's in
Montreal.
Canada. Yeah, this one's gonna be.
They
in
have
Russia.
one. They were gonna have one in Brazil, and then they wanted him to go to the one in Russia. So
Oh man,
Yeah, he's constantly
Brazil would have been perfect.
Yeah,
that would have been perfect.
awesome,
But they
he's-
have enough Brazilians in Brazil. They don't want to pay.
Yeah.
So you looking forward to going to Russia, man?
No.
I'll be honest, Russia scares the shit out of me, man. I don't want to go there.
Take my pants.
Damn.
Don't wear jeans.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man. Oh, I think we
So when's your next one, Rodney? We're
Oh
gonna fight
fuck, man! Come on, dude. You know, we were talking about how you mentored me a little bit as far as developing my character as a martial artist and a broadcast journalist for MMA, and really walking the walk. You know what I mean? And to gain an understanding that you cannot get unless you've been in there, unless you competed. And you said, because I was like, I'm gonna do one more, which is the one in Vegas. I was like, I'm gonna do one more and I'm done. And you're like, this motherfucker. I was thinking I would get off the hook. And Handjob's like, no, man, you got to do one pro, Rodney. You got to do at least one pro. You can't fucking, and
John's really good at these little pushes. Little pressure.
yeah.
Well, you're gonna do one pro.
I think there's some truth to that though, because I think first of all, amateur is a young man's game. It's for guys who really want to make a career out of it, and they start off, at a young age. I'm 36 years old. It's hard to get matched up as an amateur as it is, because if nobody wants to fight a guy that's. Remember when you were 22? 36 was old as fuck.
No, John, remember
You know
that.
what I mean?
I fought my first fight when I was 38.
Amateur or pro?
Amateur. I only did amateur.
Ask him how old he is now.
I'll be 50 in May.
Are you shitting me? God damn. Well, you
That's
hold
like
me
a
on.
mic drop moment right there.
Beauty and the Beast over there, man. I was like,
Oh shit. But I'm trying to think if I had any other questions, man. For I did. We're talking about Pony's contract. What about with UFC? Was this right now? Did they just give you this deal, or do you have multiple fights?
It's a 4-fight contract.
Bad
It's like
fucking
anything
ass.
else. You go in there, you crush, you get extensions. If you're fucking up, you get cuts. So I mean, it's a 4-fight deal though, and everything's contingent on anything. So
Yeah. Well, like I said, RFA 41, and then you had another one recently in LFA, which was another impressive submission, I believe, right?
Oh man, that poor guy got that guy got beat up so bad.
I watched it.
His dad came up to us afterwards, and he was just like, that was my son, and we were just all of us stopped and was like, what? You know, he was like, I wasn't a fan before, but now I'm a fan. And then we didn't really know how to take that comment either.
Well, the kid was tough, man.
He was
tough, dude. There was no
I disagree. If he was tough, he would have made weight. Sorry.
Well, that's true.
He missed weight.
He did miss weight. He was 6 pounds over.
It wasn't even close. It was like,
that's a lot.
Yeah. You can't be tough if you're in tough here. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it was a pretty nasty TKO.
I just remember, you know, that night, like I said, there was the Chris Benoit suplex, the awesome finish, and then, I mean, you didn't have a scratch on you, barely broke a sweat, and then you got on the mic and you did exactly what you're supposed to do. You showcased your personality after winning impressively. So I definitely want to see that on Saturday. We need to see an impressive win.
That's what we're doing on Saturday.
How are you gonna introduce yourself to the world, man? I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I mean, you have to see it. You have to catch it Saturday.
That's right.
March 3rd.
Yeah, dude, because so many cats, and Chael Sonnen is one of the best on the mic, dude, and he's like the guru. He's a guy I look up to a lot. And, you know, he says, oh, you got to do it, man. He's like, that is your moment. Like, you got to start promoting the next fight. And as soon as you get on that mic, that's when you do it. You go ahead and have somebody in mind. Most guys just be like, oh, I'll fight whoever they want me to fight. Well, if you don't give a shit who you're fighting, then neither do I. You know what I mean? I want to see you come out and be like, I'm going to fuck that dude up because I think he's weak, and I think he's fucking sitting in the number 7 slot, and I belong there.
Right.
What's up?
Or just swing for the fences, go for the top.
Yeah. Start getting my McGregor Mayweather money. Fill it out.
But you know, just last thing I got for you, like I said, when we very first met, you know, you were the de facto wrestling coach that we had, you know, at the time. Now you got Josh Rosen, but for all intents and purposes, it was basically you, at least for the MMA classes. And I know you're a badass wrestler. I've rolled with you a few times, just like in straight up jiu-jitsu. You're great at jiu-jitsu. What are you, brown belt now?
Precipice. Yeah, we're purple.
How have you seen him evolve from a wrestler into a complete jiu-jitsu player?
So you said something in the very early part of the thing. That first thing I was thinking is like, man, for me, there's like little aha moments that students have, right? You've probably experienced them to where it's like someone changes just a little bit of your perspective and all of a sudden it's like, boom, right? I'll never forget Alex at the beginning. Like here's this guy who's primarily a wrestler, right? He's super confident. He's never lacked for confidence, I don't think, ever in his life. And he comes in, and we're showing maybe a complicated like series of movements, right? And he watches, and this is Alex. You're talking to him. Okay, I got it. All right, I don't need to see it anymore. I got it. And he'll just walk away, and then he'll go out there. And then one thing he does really well is he tries to put it into his live roles immediately. And so you saw really quick growth in his game, right? But you could even talk to other students. You could talk to other people. There was a moment to where a switch turned off in Alex, where he was no more just like relying on his wrestling, but became a wrestler who was a badass jiu-jitsu guy. Does that make sense? And then there was a time where it was a wrestler, badass jiu-jitsu guy that, oh my gosh, this guy can box a little bit. And then it went from, man, he can box, man, I don't want to strike with him. I told him the other day, I'm so glad I don't spar anymore because I would never want to spar with him right now. And then when he added kicks and teeps and some of the other things he did, I mean, truly is a complete fighter. But it was a pretty cool transition when it was just like all of a sudden he was playing from his back, where he would never ever accept that. He would rely 100% on his wrestling, but he really embraced these concepts and tried to become the best jiu-jitsu guy that he could. You know, not just the best MMA athlete. At each separate discipline, he truly has become the best that he can each, and he's going to continue to do that, which is why I know he has a future at this level.
And as a striking coach, same question. How have you seen him evolve from, you know, a wrestler into a complete mixed martial artist in the striking?
Well, I taught him very extremely little. I hold the pads for him, and holding pads for him has gone from just the hands to just the legs. Now he's doing stuff, he's switching stances, he's taking different angles and stuff like that. It's a chore, to tell you the truth. It's hard work and it hurts sometimes. But he's constantly evolving. It's going from, he's doing spinning kicks, he's doing hook kicks, he's doing everything he's done. When he starts doing them, it's terrifying because he misses a lot. And I just hope he loses interest in it. And he hasn't lost interest in it. He's gotten better and better and better. I just modified the equipment so it won't hurt nearly as bad. But yeah, he's going to get better, and he's going to get better and better. Any new thing that comes along, any new wrinkle that's out there, he'll incorporate it, and he'll get really, in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, he'll get as good at it as anybody.
But don't let this guy downplay it. This is the glue that keeps our gym together, this guy right here. I mean, from MMA to jits to wrestling to everything, almost everything runs through Handjob, and he does a really good job of keeping everyone connected, keeping everyone where they're supposed to be, and make sure they get the work that they need to. So, I mean, this guy has a huge responsibility in our success.
We all mesh together, make the fabric work.
Man, I just want to reiterate, I cannot believe this, man. It's so surreal. Looking right here on the Vegas skyline.
T-Mobile Arena right there.
Right there.
T-Mobile Arena right there. That's where you're going to do battle, man. That's like a fucking Roman Coliseum from over here. Jesus. And it's 3 guys who have just been incredibly, have meant a lot to me as mentors, as coaches to me, not just as a martial artist, but again, as a broadcast journalist. And you know, helped me to grow more complete in all aspects, man. I'm so proud of y'all, man, and I thank you for your time, and goddamn, I wish y'all the best of luck. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but fuck that. Alex the Great Hernandez, yo! San Antonio! San Antonio's in the house.
Thanks, brother.
We're gonna get kicked out of this hotel room.
All right, thank you.
right.
I've been kicked out of hotel.
It's
This
Vegas,
wouldn't be the
baby.
first, nor will be the last.
We're gonna trash the hotel room. Fuck it. Is that all right if I trash the hotel?